want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says, squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link. It's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Bam. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels, and it is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024, year of our Lord. Shout out to all of my friends and family that be up early in the morning, making sure that they get into it, taking care of business, being on top of things, and running up the numbers. If anybody should motivate you, it should be me. If anybody should motivate you, it should be me. You know why? Because I am dedicated to the grind. So shout out to the chasers. The best day to join a Patreon is the beginning of the month. We are in the first third of the month since it is the 10th. I did post and drop the actual details from the Patreon or in the Patreon yesterday. So if you are looking for the location, the time, the date, everything which is not to be shared with the general public. If you are looking for the location, insight, information, understanding, anything related to the Patreon meetup that is happening later on this month, everything is inside of the Patreon. And also, I would like to kind of get some feedback on who's going to be there, who's bringing a plus one, all of that, because that informs me on how it is that I'm supposed to be able to make sure that you guys are accommodated. So if you are a bag chaser, if you are a Patreon member, if you are in a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, and you are going to link up with me, where we going to link up, then you definitely want to make sure that you want to tap into the Patreon and then type in the chat and let me know whether or not you're going to be there. Also, on top of that, tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. So shout out to y'all that information is up. Also, we got Stock Club tomorrow. Stock Club tomorrow. Those details will go inside of the Patreon today. All right. So yesterday we dropped some information inside of the Patreon. Today we're going to drop some information inside of the Patreon as far as the Stock Club live stream that we do. If you need to catch up on previous Stock Clubs so that you can get informed and you can be busting down these bags like the rest of us, please do. Do not delay. Stop waiting for people to get you to take care of them. Make sure you do the work yourself so that you can stay up to date on what's happening. We do recaps and we do break down exactly how it is that we look at things from a C student's perspective, because a lot of people think that it's more complicated than it really is. It's not. It's not. It's not that complicated. Why do people say this not what? We are live. I'm looking at you. Shout out to Thanos, Latrell, A.R. Smitty, Fa Brown, King Manasseh, Jack Covington, A.R. Smitty, Roxy, Ken Jackson, Vanessa, Keisha. Everybody that's in the chat, shout out to all of my people that's in the chat. I go live. I actually do the show in real time, and nothing is pre-planned or anything like that. But in addition to Stock Club, make sure that y'all tap in with Stock Club so that y'all can capitalize like we have been all year so far. In addition to Stock Club, I have the Anton Daniels show dropping today. So episode 3 on the Anton Daniels channel will be dropping today, right? It is roughly 35, 40 minutes long. We got to put some finishing touches on it. I'm getting that over to my editors for them to do what they do. So I'm guessing sometime around 8 o'clock p.m. today, you guys should be tapped into that so you can see what's happening. We address some very, very, very important issues and topics as we continue to transition into being a more mature platform, because we want to grow with the platform. We don't want to stay in the same place that we have been doing the same thing that all of these Dusties been doing for all of this time. So episode 3 of the Anton Daniels show is dropping today on the Anton Daniels channel, and I'm assuming that it's probably going to be somewhere around 8 p.m. Eastern today. So very important topics, mature conversation, and we moving away from certain things and we moving into our greatness. If you know me, if you've been following me for all of these years, you know that Anton does not stay in the same place for long. Every year we want to continue to grow and we want to continue to be better than we was the day before. And shout out to everybody that was on after hours last night, getting it in and running it up. We had a really great time. It's so unscripted and it's so dope. Shout out to 2K Quentin, Q, Slimmy, all of my friends that tapped in for after hours. What up, Tia Marie? What up, Rob Brown, Chris Simmons? What's happening, y'all? How y'all feeling? Y'all ready to get it popping? Tech Coach Ralph, shout out to all of my friends and family. Let's get it popping. All right, so again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read some of these cash apps because y'all out here blessing time, dog. I'm going to read the cash apps. And then last but not least, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That link is in the description. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. We got a full show for y'all today. First and foremost, do not send me messages on Cash App asking for money. That is not how things work. I am not an ATM machine. I do not ask for donations, but what I try to do is add value, and then people, they contribute to the platform because they love what we do over here. So I never ask for anything, but I always want to make sure that I add value into people's lives. Shout out to Emmanuel Williams, first and foremost. Says you helping people blow up and they stab you. Well, that's just a part of the game. But I am the father of a lot of these people, so that's all that matters. And we're going to continue to buzz down the bag. Shout out to Frank White in the building. Says, salute and ready for the show. I appreciate you, my dog, Mike that dude. Shout out to Mike that dude running up a bag. And then my friend, Easy Money, ESDC, is in the building. Says, good morning, AD and friends. Thank you to everybody that continues to help out and show love on the platform. I appreciate you and all of the people that get coaching calls. If you're looking to do any business with me, make sure you email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. antondaniels413@gmail.com. One thing about me, though, one thing is, oh, shoot, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. You can't stop the rain. You can't stop the rain. You can't stop the rain. Here we go. See, this is what they don't have. They don't have people that love them. They don't have a sister on their team. They don't have the type of people that love them like y'all love me. I don't even ask for it. They don't have the type of love that we have over here in the Chasers. Shout out to sister. Says, good morning, Mr. AD. I have been sick with, oh man, hey, send a prayer up for my girl sister. Since Monday, thank you. I look forward to the Millionaire Morning Show and staying connected and brighten my day. You are a blessing. By the way, I'm going to skip over that $40 cable bill. That is a Patreon secret you need to share with us. I thought I was doing great with my $50 bill. Hey, man, can we get some prayers up for sister? Everybody in the chat, can we get some prayers up for sister and making sure that she is getting through this whole thing? One thing is for sure, sister, since you down and you being quarantined, I guarantee you I'm going to make sure that I live stream and I add as much value and entertainment, and hopefully I got you laughing and not coughing. Laughing and not coughing, sister. You know what I'm saying? We're going to live stream at night. We're going to do the produce shows. We're going to do the Patreon live streams. Get well, my baby girl. Get well. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for always contributing into the platform. It does not go unnoticed, and you know I love you. Hey, sister, email me. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. I need to talk to you personally. I need to get in touch with you and talk to you personally because I genuinely don't take for granted when people contributing into the platform. I know I got rich friends. I know that you, Chris James, all of the people, my dog, Fi Brown, Mr. Lott, everybody, Ash, all of my friends and family. I appreciate all of y'all that continue to hold me down. But send me your email, sister. I want to talk to you and hopefully I can add some value into your life offline. You know what I'm saying? So it does not go unnoticed. I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you for continuing to hold me down. Ari, everybody, shout out to y'all. Thank you, sister. I appreciate you, love. And get well. Prayers up for you, baby girl. Ashton Gaynor says, good morning, everyone. AD, appreciate you, big dog. Thank you, my friend. And thank you for always holding me down. I appreciate you for always supporting and rocking out with us over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. Y'all ready to get started with the show? I'm going to continue to read super chats and cash apps throughout the show, in between segments. You know what it is. But first things first, you know how we do it. Quick hits, man. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to add or break down just one individual thing per segment, but we just want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on in these streets. So without further ado, I'm going to read that super chat shortly. David Williams, without further ado, why does it say modded? We need to change that. Thieves is basically targeting diners in New York City on mopeds. Check it out.
Police also searching for thieves behind a rash of recent robberies targeting diners at high-end restaurants. Now, these holdups seem to follow the same pattern. At least two men with a gun, usually looking for one thing, luxury watches. And tonight, Only News 4's Jessica Cunnington spoke with NYPD investigators about what else the crimes have in common.
In the heat of the summer, a warning for New Yorkers walking around or eating outdoors.
These guys are robbing everywhere.
We spoke exclusively with Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenny, who says the NYPD has been tracking and combating a surge in robbery patterns, usually teams of 2 on a moped or scooter who want watches, phones, and jewelry.
5 incidents can turn to 12 incidents in one night. Because what we do see is that they tend to go on sprees.
Chief Kenny says this time last year, there were 32 robbery patterns across the city involving scooters. So far this year, there's 116.
We're in upwards up to 600 crimes within those 116 patterns.
This video, one example, showing a group eating outside at a restaurant in Williamsburg late May, and police say the man circling the table there showed a gun and demanded their watches. They handed over 2 before the guy walked away, cops say, and hopped on a dirt bike. A couple of weeks later, outside Carbone in Manhattan, as a man was waiting for a table, police say 2 men walked up to him, demanded his $100,000 watch, took it, and drove off on a moped.
Nope.
A few days after that, at Birds of a Feather, a Chinese restaurant near Bedford.
Wait. You telling me that they walk up to you? We don't even know if these people can speak English. They walk up to you. They demand your $100,000. Did they say $100,000 watch? Must have been a Patek Philippe.
2 men walked up to him, demanded his $100,000 watch, took it, and drove off on a moped.
You know why they say wealth is silent? Because they don't want to deal with all of the dusties. That's why people don't feel comfortable wearing their stuff, flaunting their stuff, showing where they live. It usually is invite only. It's usually invite only because they ain't got to worry about this type of stuff. I'm out and about on a regular basis, and I'm always in the streets. I be getting my J. Cole on. Shout out to everybody that I meet out in the streets. And I walk into and I run into people all the time, and 100% of the time is love. 100% of the time is love. I never have no problems, but I still, because I'm on my bike most of the time. I'm not riding my bike today because it's raining outside, but I'm on my bike most of the time. And I usually have my Apple Watch on. So, in addition to me making sure that I get all of my circles closed, my rings closed on my Apple Watch, I just don't wear nothing of value out in the streets because I'm being aware. And the people out in the streets will tell you, they'll be like, well, you ain't keeping it real. You scared. No, we keeping it smart. Out here with a $100,000 watch getting ran up on a migrant on a moped, man, get out of here. And see, I feel more comfortable wearing my own stuff in my city, but I usually don't wear anything out of town because I can't carry nothing with me unless I got security with me. So it's unfortunate. You go out of town or you walking around in the city or you go visit somewhere and you chilling, you at a restaurant, and then next thing you know, you see some people on a moped running up on you, telling you to take your phones and your jewelry and all of that stuff off. That's crazy.
A few days after that, at Birds of a Feather, a Chinese restaurant near Bedford Avenue in Williamsburg, cops say 2 men walked in with a gun.
They basically held up the entire restaurant.
And I think these are migrants
at gunpoint.
In those incidents, no one was hurt.
So if you're wearing a chain, they will point the gun at your neck and say, give me the chain, or they'll point the gun at your wrist for the watch.
New Yorkers and visitors we spoke with now even more on guard.
Definitely putting the watch in the safety deposit box, not wearing it out.
Definitely start being more aware, and I'm actually shocked to hear about this.
The NYPD adding resources to the central robbery team to combat this, and Kenny says they believe the suspects they're looking for.
Hey, somebody address one of the moderators. Go ahead and get Infinity Link up out of here. We don't want no dusties. Shout out to Ari Reed.
Are newly arrived migrants.
It's a very difficult crime to track, and how do we do it is sometimes we'll see the same perpetrator.
Bob Brown says this might be an insurance scam. AD, why you randomly walking around with a Patek on? Because some people just like to wear their watches. I walk around with a Rolex on all the time, most of the time. Like if I'm on my bike, like if I'm in my car most of the time, I'll just throw, I have my real watches on and stuff like that. But some people, because I see people and I run into people all the time, and I'll see people, and if you know, I'll look at their wrist, they'll look at my wrist, and I'm like, man, that's a nice watch. Or they'll compliment me and they'll just say nice watch. Like that's normal. It's normal to walk around with nice things on. I don't think that that's an insurance scam at all. Whatsoever, because it's happening too regularly, and it's not just one random incident. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people like to wear their nice stuff. They like to go places. They wear their nice stuff. They like to, just dress up and put their nice stuff on. And I think that people are actually getting robbed. I don't think it's an insurance scam at all. At all.
Perpetrator has been arrested 11 times in the last 3 months, and you look at the time, it matches up with the time of entry into the country.
Difficult to track, but the manpower and response is citywide.
We have a dedicated radio frequency. The message goes out citywide to officers out on patrol what to look for, and they've been very successful.
Chief Kenny's advice: be aware of your surroundings.
It's just unfortunate that you just can't go outside and live your life. You got to have all of these rules on your life in order to ensure that you don't get robbed and stuff like that. So, you know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But in addition to that, an off-duty police officer in Chicago was killed after a robbery. Check it out.
New details in the investigation into a deadly shooting in Kane County.
An off-duty sheriff's deputy killed a person in Elgin. That's where CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is live with more on what prompted the shooting. Sabrina.
We're now learning from the Kane County Sheriff that this appears to have started with an armed robbery. We also know that the Kane County State's Attorney is still evaluating all of the preliminary evidence.
I observed the body laying there because I didn't know what was happening at first.
Oh, no. Hold on. Y'all keep getting on me about getting distracted, but y'all not going to get on him for leaving my man's head looking like... Look. This is a serious issue. If y'all want me to take this serious, if y'all want me to be a little bit more vigilant in what it is that we're talking about and being a lot more serious, we're not going to sit here and act like we don't see my man hair missing in the back and him just doing a random interview in the barbershop without telling my man, all right, hold on, let me get the rest of this hair or let me finish with this. This is not my fault that I'm being distracted by looking at this because I'm paying attention to the video. Look at the dude. Hold on, wait. Who cut somebody's hair from the back forward? I have never seen anybody get their hair cut from the back forward. Never. I've never seen nobody get their... What barber shop is this? Something barber and beauty salon. I wonder what barber shop this is. Rodney Hunter, you foul. You are foul for doing your homie like that. You are absolutely foul. Thank you, Christopher Simmons. It ain't even my fault this time. That's foul. That is absolutely evil to put a man on the screen like that and get their hair cut. I've never seen anybody get their hair cut from the back to the front like that. That's crazy. What kind of haircut is that? And he got a head full of hair. So what is he doing, a baldy? This is wild, bro. This is absolutely insane. I ain't never seen no junk like that. Fire your barber, dog. This is one of them situations. I got a friend named Lance. He loyal to his barber, and his barber is Biden's age. And Lance, shout out to Lance. Lance is so loyal to this dude that he be hoping that the barber is not there today because then he got to keep getting his haircut because he been getting a haircut by the guy since he was a little kid. So he just been loyal to the dude and he don't want to hurt his feelings and say, hey, man, you're not really my barber no more. Shout out to Lance, man. This is evil. This is diabolical. But off-duty police officer, let's stay focused, y'all.
Rodney Hunter was driving by when he says he saw a crime scene outside of his storefront.
When I got here, I noticed all the police officers, and I told the police officer that that was my business on the corner, so he let me come through.
Yesterday, just after 4:30 in the afternoon, Elgin police say they got a call to respond to a shooting here at Walnut Avenue and National Street.
That's when it's time to retire, bro. You stealing money.
CBS News Chicago has confirmed that a off-duty Kane County Sheriff's deputy
reading that
shot
super
and
chat shortly,
killed
Chase.
someone. That person lay underneath a tent as Hunter approached his business.
We just been here like 2 months now, and it's like,
look at my man's head.
You know, just to see that, it kind of mess you up because people walk up and down the street all day long.
Kane County Sheriff Ron Hain told us in a brief statement that he was proud of his deputy that intervened in what appeared to be an armed robbery while off duty. The Kane County State's Attorney has now taken over all responses for the sheriff's office and we're told is still going through evidence. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots and the roads were closed off for hours. Evidence markers littered the ground. Members of the community, understandably, shaken.
It was disturbing.
We're still waiting to learn the identity of the person who was killed. As soon as we have more information on that and from the state's attorney's office, we will update the story here and on our website. For now, we're
So another off-duty police officer is killed, and that's unfortunate because every single day they keep trying to tell us. I was looking at a Umar Johnson interview yesterday, and he's talking about how many people are being killed by the police that's black. Man, way more police officers is getting killed by perpetrators than it is the other way around. So be very, very careful and aware of y'all surroundings. And then last but not least, the body of a missing Chicago pastor was finally found, pulled out of a river. Check it out.
The body of a pastor who had been missing for a week was found in his car in the Des Plaines River tonight.
Our Maribel Gonzalez has been in the southwest suburbs all afternoon and evening talking with family and investigators. Maribel.
Joe and Erica, it's been an emotional day here in Rockdale. We were there when the loved ones and the family members of the Chicago pastor were updated on this search, a search and recovery that took hours as investigators were battling several elements: the murky waters, the bad weather, and the nightfall.
I can't even begin to describe the pain that we're feeling right now.
A search for missing Chicago pastor Warren Beard comes to an end, but the grief for his loved ones is only just beginning.
This is not the outcome that we prayed for, that we wanted.
Beard's car was discovered in the Des Plaines River Tuesday morning. The tip came from the Army Corps of Engineers video surveillance, which showed the car driving off the bridge near the Brandon Lock and Road Dam and into the water the night of July 2nd, the last day anyone had heard from Beard.
The only discernible object is a vehicle leaving Brandon Road and falling into the river. That's all we can tell.
Officials say the driver of the car drove around these roadblocks and through the small gap between the bridge and the road. The bridge has been raised for over a year and a half. Initially, they couldn't identify the car due to the murky waters of the Des Plaines River.
A lot of traffic that we estimate probably 25 to 30 barges have gone through there, which disturbs everything, pushes everything. So it was hard locating the vehicle due to the water.
But before nightfall,
divers have recovered the crew and successfully retrieved the vehicle from the water and a nearby area. Authorities can confirm the human remains were located in the vehicle.
At the scene, the emotional response of Beard's loved ones. They say they have a difficult time understanding what could have happened.
We want answers, and whatever those answers are, we're going to get justice for him.
I wonder what happened. What could possibly cause a person to do somebody that dirty? So either it's foul play in that, man, you don't just get dumped inside of the river with your car unless something is up. Now, I'm not an advocate for anybody losing their life or anything like that. However, that's a lot. That's a lot. So anyways, prayers up for the family. We always want to send our condolences. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Quick Hits. All right, let me read a couple of these super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. Shout out to David Williams, says, sister, I got that $20 cable bill for you. All right, so let me give y'all the flip on the cable bill. So when you go into certain buildings, it's like cable installed through the building normally. So that's just a part of your bill. You know what I'm saying? So by default, you get like a $40 cable bill, and I'm talking about the internet. I don't have regular cable in none of the places that I have because I got streaming services. So you usually just get like a shared cable service. It's like $40 or $75, depending on where you at or what kind of service they have for the internet. And then you can get additional high speeds if you then upgrade. So I got to pay a separate bill for the upgrade for the higher speed or something like that. So it's just a shared cable bill when you in the building or when you in a specific place. So that's all it is. Nothing major, nothing major. Shout out to my dog, David Williams. I appreciate you, big dog. Tech Coach Ralph, my guy in the building, says, just to brag on sis, you got a lot of fans in here. She shows up to every agile training in the Discord, asks amazing questions, and puts what your car and I share into practice. Let me give another round of applause for sis. And then also my dog, Tech Coach Ralph. I appreciate you for always him and your car for doing great work inside of the Discord. Last but not least, my dog Chase Barnes says, I'm trying to keep my laughter down, and while I work, it looks like a solar eclipse. That was the worst cut that I've ever seen on this show on any platform, and I've seen some crazy, crazy stuff. Again, shout out to everybody that continues to support us on the platform. We love you. We appreciate you. Let's continue on with the show. We got a full show, ladies and gentlemen. So first things first, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this particular subject, but over in Hollywood Hills and in a lot of the different suburbs over on the West Coast, they're having a problem with being targeted, right? Where y'all thought that y'all was safe because y'all were in higher upper echelon neighborhoods and you were in a mansion, you was off the coast. Y'all thought that y'all was safe because largely what we've always believed is that crime is concentrated or is perpetuated against people that are around you, right? So usually when you look at statistics and data, they all do crime against each other. But now the thieves are getting a little bit smarter. Thank you, Jamal Fowler. I appreciate you. They're getting a little bit smarter, right? And so what they're doing is they're going outside of their normal neighborhoods. And so instead of just stealing from each other, they've decided to make sure that equity and inclusion is implemented across the board. So they're going out to these higher end neighborhoods, the Hollywood Hills and stuff like that. And they're starting to target mansions and rich people and people that thought that they were safe and that could leave their doors open and that have windows that could just be easily busted out. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Thank you. A multi-million-dollar heist in the Hollywood Hills. Thieves break into a home, stealing dozens of expensive watches. The sophisticated burglars disabled the alarm system and disconnected cameras during the daytime heist.
Residents say it is not the first break-in in the area, and they are terrified their neighborhood is being targeted. John Fenolio is live in the Hollywood Hills with more on the thieves behind this bold daytime burglary, a story you will see only on 5. John?
Cher and Micah, the homeowner tells us several homes have been hit in his Doheny Estates neighborhood in the last few months. And as you mentioned, he believes he was targeted, and he hopes his story will serve as a warning to other residents.
My neighbor called me and said, hey, are you at your house? I go, no. I said, I'm afraid you've been hit.
Luis got that call just before 12:30 Tuesday and raced to his Hollywood Hills home to discover he'd been burglarized.
Whoever broke into this house kind of understood the security system.
Man, that house was kind of sick. Hold on, let me back up for a minute.
Whoever broke into this house, kind of understood.
Hey, that closet is on 10. I ain't even gonna cap. Whoever broke into that crib, they knew what they was doing, fam. They absolutely knew what they was doing. That closet is, and you don't see nothing but red bottoms, high-end shoes and red bottoms wrapped around the entire closet. That's pretty dope.
The security system.
How could they understand it?
Because they disabled they went straight to the media room and disabled all the internet. That allowed them to have a free pass because all of the cameras completely go offline. Just like your phone doesn't work here. Nothing works, right? Automatically, the gate opens.
You can see the shattered glass from where the thieves smashed their way into the house, then ransacked the closet. Luis says neighbors saw 3 men in ski masks.
You know what that is, right? When you see that on the floor?
Then ransacked.
So that right there, that's where all of the watches are, right? That's where all of the watches are. So a lot of times, what we have, and this is the reason why a lot of people always say, well, Anton, why don't you just go get a house or whatever like that? Because I don't want to. You have to go through so many different barriers of entry to be able to get to the places. And then you also got to get into the main safe and all of this stuff. And so you got to go through security. You got to have the code to get to my floors. You got to be able to get through my barricaded door. You got to go through so many different things to get to the places where I stay. And so, people don't understand, and it's because you don't know. You've never had anything to the point to where you've had to start taking steps to be a little bit more protected than you normally would. When you just live in a house, right, or you just live in a gated community, it's much easier for you to be a target, and it's much easier for them to be a target. And so coming from where I come from, I automatically know that you have to move differently when you get something because you are already familiar with being around like minds or people that come from a certain element that is always 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to figure out how to come and get you and take yours. That's what the watches are. Usually what happens is it's a rotator in order to keep your watches on time because if, like, for example, if you got a Rolex, I forgot how much time it passed, but it's automatic, right? So it's no battery in this. You just wind it up. It'll stop turning after a certain amount of days or whatever like that. But I don't worry about the same things that they worry about. Because you got to go through all of these different steps and security, and then you still got to have a code, and you still got to get through the barricaded door. By that time, you a dead man. Either the police gonna get you or you a dead man. So, people don't understand, and they'll say, hey, why do you own the places or you own the houses that you rent out to other people, but then you decide to live in a building? You decide to go and stay in a corporate apartment. Well, in addition to the money side of it, the tax purposes, we're not going to talk about that right now. In addition to that, it adds extra layers to make sure my family is not ever going to be in the same place as y'all. I never have problems with getting my cars broken into. I never have issues that y'all have because I have secured parking. And I got security waiting for me, and they got to bring my car up. And you got to get the code in order to even be able to get. I don't even have keys to my place because everything is through the application. I have no keys because you can't even get in unless you hit a certain code and you hit the code on the door at the same time. You can't move the same way that we move. So, for all of these people, just targets. And you're right, Rennie D, nothing is thief-proof, but you can definitely make it more difficult in order to be able to protect yourself.
Back the closet. Luis says neighbors saw 3 men in ski masks leaving his home located in Doheny Estates in a white Jeep Grand Cherokee.
There were 3 of them. One went downstairs. One went to disable the security system, while the other one went in the closet to take what they came here for.
What they came for were Luis's collection of expensive wristwatches.
My entire collection of Patek Philippe is gone.
Ooh, and see, this is a heist. This is not just a random burglary. This is a heist. This right here is a heist. You know why? Because they skipped over all of the BS that normal thieves would go through. They skipped over the red bottoms. They skipped over all of the crap. They skipped over the little petty stuff. They left all of that stuff and they already had the layout. They probably went on Zillow and looked at the purchase and the previous listings to look at the layout of the house and all of that stuff. Man, I ain't got time for that. I have no time for that. They probably took $400,000-$500,000 worth of watches. Man, that Nautilus. Let me look at this collection. They took an AP worth about $90,000, another AP worth $41,000. Oh man, he got a crazy collection. And that ain't even a half. He probably lost $1 million worth of watches. I hope he had them insured.
Luis's collection of expensive wristwatches.
My entire collection of Patek Philippe is gone. All of them. Every single one of them. And I had some very special pieces.
Inside.
You believed that these crooks knew what they were going after?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They knew what there was here, and that's the thing that I don't understand because I'm very private. So
you got to check your circle. He got some snakes in his circle. He got set up. Listen, it's never the people. This is what I know for sure. If you gonna wind up getting hit as a person that actually understands money and knows how to move and got security, if you get hit, I don't think it has anything to do with insurance at all. He wouldn't even be on camera if it had anything to do with insurance. If you're going to, he hurt, he broken, he hurt, he's scared because he know that there's somebody around him. He got snakes in his circle. That ain't nothing but a snake in his circle. It could be anybody. Whoever it was that got him is somebody close to him. It's somebody that set him up and is close to him. It don't have nothing to do with the insurance. It got everything to do. Listen, you can replace stuff. You can replace stuff. Yeah, I would be hurt if I lost $500,000, $1 million worth of watches, but I can replace money. I can replace watches. I'm not tripping off the watches. I'm more worried about who it is that's around me, because if they willing to break in my crib, disable my security, take my stuff, and they know where everything is, now I got to replace everybody. That's why I don't have no new friends. That's why I keep my circle small. That's why I keep my circle small, because the minute that you start letting people in your crib without taking security measures, the minute that you start trusting too many people and you don't know what they are, if they don't have just as much to lose as you can't come to my crib, bro. You can replace stuff if you know how money works. But what you can't replace is the ability to be able to sleep good at night, knowing that somebody knows exactly how you sleep and when you sleep and how you move, where your stuff at. That's an inside job. That is absolutely an inside job. That dude is losing sleep and he worried. That's one of the reasons why he's talking to the news.
So how would they know what was here?
He says he's now making major security upgrades.
No, I'm
and
gone.
He's not worried about being victimized again.
I don't know what they can rob because they took everything.
Why do you want to get the word out about these stolen watches?
Well, because to dispose of stolen watches, you got to find buyers. The watch community is a very, very, very tight-knit community, and if they can just watch out for a flood of watches, I mean, you're talking
They're not going to let them go like that.
Very high-end watches that are going to hit the market, and you're going to know that some of those watches are mine.
All right, Luis says his watches have specific serial numbers and paperwork. He said buyers should beware of any watches that don't have this verification of authenticity. He also says he hopes residents will check their security system so that they too don't become victims. We're live in the Hollywood Hills. I'm John Finolio.
Ain't got nothing to do with his residents. Ain't got nothing to do with the neighbors. Ain't got nothing to do with none of that. That is 100% an inside job. That right there is 100% an inside job. That is somebody that he knows that set him up, that knows the layout of his house, knows where his watches is. They didn't do nothing. They broke the window, disabled the security. They had 3 people. One went to security, one went that way, and then the other one went into his closet in order to get his collection. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, not knowing that my kids is there and my wife is there. And so I'm no. I would be absolutely 100% broken up as a result of it. Let me read this super chat, and then we're going to continue on with it. Jamal Fowler says, I would be gone. I would be selling my crib and I would be moving on to something else. Shout out to my dog, Jamal Fowler, says, pass the offering for the collection plate. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for holding me down. I appreciate you for continuing to support the platform. Let's move over into the next part of the show. I wanted to keep an eye on what was going on over here in Oakland. I think that Oakland is largely becoming my next favorite city, above Chicago. Oakland is becoming a city that I like to cover more than Chicago. I'm kind of off Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Chicago been my little girlfriend for the last, 2 years, 2.5 years. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I need that new thing. You kind of get a little bit comfortable. And so right now, Chicago is still my main hoe, but Oakland is my side chick. You know what I'm saying? Chicago is still my main chick, but Oakland is my side chick. And my main chick better be careful, because a side chick is absolutely advertising to take her job. And so now I'm starting to become a lot more interested in what's happening on the West Coast. I am. I'm becoming a lot more interested in what happens on the West Coast. Because, I mean, how can you not pay attention to a city that lost every team that they have? That In-N-Out was ready to leave even though they were profitable. That homelessness is running rampant. My bet is that Oakland is going to be the next big city to file for bankruptcy. You say I take Chicago on dates? Yeah, not that often though. Chicago is like, you got to, date night, regular. You already know the date night is coming up. Oakland is like, oh my God, you surprised me with a new gift. You know what I'm saying? You did something nice for me. Oh, you sent me an edible arrangement. Oakland is that for me right now. Oakland is new home material. Chicago is like, That's Chicago is always going to be dependable when it comes to crime, corruption. You know what I'm saying? People killing each other in the streets. You always going to be able to get. If you are having a dry news day as a person that is doing the news on a regular basis, and you need to go and get you got to go get your bottom hoe. You know what I'm saying? The person that you can depend on that's going to come for you every single time. Chicago is that. But if you need that new thing, that girl that escaped you, but sometimes she come back into town and stuff like that. That's Oakland for me right now. I don't know if she gonna stick around. I don't know if it's just a fling. But for right now, I'm really, really feeling my Oakland people. So I'm keeping an eye on what's going on over here with Shang Tsung and the FBI investigation. Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's going on out in these streets, man.
We're getting a look at a federal grand jury subpoena addressed to Oakland City Attorney Barbara Parker. The Oakland side posted the subpoena on their website. The U.S. attorney wants the city to hand over various documents.
That's serious. And, that's the first time that I've been involved politically here that I've heard of a federal investigation.
UC Law Associate Professor Jonathan Abel says this is the first look at what federal authorities may be after, and that a federal grand jury will be handling this high-profile case. A federal grand jury will determine if there is enough evidence to file charges or indictments.
This is a roadmap to the things that they're interested in.
According to the Chronicle last week, in connection with a federal grand jury subpoena, the Oakland city attorney reportedly told some city staff to preserve all documents related to Mayor Sheng Tao's partner, Andre Jones, as well as California Waste Solutions and the Duong family.
They don't want someone putting them into a shredding machine today.
Among the documents, this
Facts. And that's why I don't understand why the Oakland mayor, Shang Tsung, didn't understand why the FBI raided her the way that they raided her. Because why would they give you warnings so that you can start moving a little bit differently and shredding documents and moving stuff around and making sure that people are aware of what's going on? If they think that you connected to something and you connected to the Duong family and they raiding the Duong family and you got documentation or it's a possibility that you involved, or you got evidence that helps them, secure a conviction or something that you involved in, and she's sitting there talking about, I don't understand why the FBI didn't contact me in order for me to be able to assist them and be able to comply with whatever documentation that they need. Well, obviously, a raid is a surprise. They don't want you to know that they're coming because they don't want you to move a little bit differently, and they want you to be surprised when they go in and take all of your hard drives and their documents.
subpoena demands communications related to Andre Jones, all calendar entries or records of the existence of planned or scheduled meetings with Tao or Jones from June 22nd to the present.
We don't really know how all the pieces fit together, but you can see that types of things they're interested in.
The subpoena also requests documents and communications related to the former Oakland Army base and efforts to fight homelessness that were considered by Oakland City Council last year.
So I think what they're trying to find out is who was involved and who was asking for what.
We reached out to Mayor Tao's legal counsel, attorney Jeff Tsai. He did not want to comment on the matter today. This afternoon, a spokesperson for California Waste Solutions and the Duongs issued this statement saying, quote, "The company is currently working closely with federal investigators to support and expedite their investigation, which is unrelated to CWS operations."
But it's disturbing. It's really, for me, it's, we're losing a lot of confidence from the public here in Oakland.
City leaders say they're just taking this complicated investigation one step at a time. In Oakland, Suzanne Fawn, ABC 7 News.
Let's deep dive into this a little bit more before we move over into the next story.
We are getting our first look at a grand jury subpoena that's shedding new light on the recent FBI raids in Oakland. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Northern California has ordered the city to hand over a trove of documents of interest to investigators. It is the first indication of what the FBI may be after following raids on the home of Mayor Sheng Tao she shares with her partner, as well as locations belonging to the politically influential Duong family, which owns the recycling company California Waste Solutions. So Katie Nielsen's in studio now. She has been digging into this. The FBI has been very tight-lipped, but we're certainly learning a little bit more about what we're finding out in this subpoena, correct?
That's right, Juliet. So I actually have a copy of that subpoena that was issued to the city attorney's office. It's only 8 pages, but there are specifics here related to the mayor and her partner, Andre Jones, as well as the Duong family and their business dealings with the city.
The FBI hasn't answered any questions about why the mayor's home was searched in the early morning hours of June 20th or what agents were looking for. But just 5 days after the raids on June 25th, the FBI demanded documents from the city attorney related to the case.
Grand jury subpoenas in furtherance of the federal criminal investigation being conducted under supervision of his office. Certified sufficient reason to believe that the notification of the subpoena and your compliance therewith or disclosure of the information provided thereunder can serve seriously impede or thwart this important investigation. Therefore, you are requested to withhold disclosure and notification for an indefinite period of time. Thank you for cooperation. Okay, I got you.
Asking for any communications around Mayor Tao's campaign, meetings she's taken, who she met with, and what was discussed, as well as any communications having to do with the Duong's businesses. The feds.
So they basically tying her in to the Duongs, just like I assumed in the very beginning. Just like I assumed in the very beginning. And when we start going into this and we start breaking it down, she tried to make it seem like, and I'm not saying that she's guilty, I always believe innocent until proven guilty, but she tried to make it seem like, oh, okay, well, it's just some very important people that's funding my recall campaign and they're after me and it's one of the reasons why I'm being prosecuted or persecuted. But in reality, we don't even know if she's guilty or we don't even know if they're going after her or if they're going after both her and the Duong family. But ultimately, it's always a bigger fish and they're not necessarily focused on her, but she may be collateral damage and she may be a part of it. I don't know.
Want documents going back to January of 2020, just a few months after Tao announced she was running for mayor.
The feds are looking both at the campaign of the mayor as well as conduct that occurred afterwards.
Stephen Clark is a former prosecutor and now a criminal defense attorney and says based on the documents the FBI is asking for, he believes this is a pay-to-play investigation, and the FBI is looking for evidence of possible bribery or public corruption.
A pay-to-play, bribery, public corruption. Okay, all right. It's getting deeper. It's getting deeper.
Was there some connection between campaign financial activities and the subsequent conduct of a city official?
The FBI is also requesting information about the mayor's partner, Andre Jones, including any documents or communications with him, as well as information about any meetings he might have attended. But just last week, in an interview with CBS News Bay Area, Tao denied Jones had any involvement in her administration.
And absolutely not. You know, I've been on the city council where he's never actually, been on any payroll. That's really easy to confirm. He's hardly.
It is what our assistant said.
And so, there's no truth to that at all.
Now, we have reached out to the mayor's office for comment on these subpoenas. They referred us to the city attorney's office. The city attorney's office said it did not have a comment.
Yeah, now, Katie, you've been doing a lot of digging, a lot of our newsroom looking into this, reading that subpoena, trying to get as much information as we can. But the mayor has made statements in the past. So what have we learned from that?
So she has. Just 1 day before the FBI issued the subpoena, she had that fiery press conference where she denied being the subject of any federal investigation. Then again, in that interview you just saw a clip from last week right here on CBS Bay Area, she said the same thing again, that she is not the subject of the FBI investigation.
Okay, so let's talk about the Duong family. And so what we know now is that they did donate to the mayor's campaign.
Of course they did.
Also named in the subpoena. So what is their role in all of this, if we know?
So we don't fully know what the role is, but it is worth noting that on this subpoena, item number 1 pertains to California Waste Solutions, which is owned by the Duong family.
Of course. So basically what happens is, and this is just my theory, but basically what happens is a lot of the city contracts, and I am very, very familiar with city contracts and certain companies in order to be able to get paid from the city, and then who you need to be connected to. Come on, man, I'm from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So I know a lot about what's happening out in these streets. But what happens is it's a pay-to-play thing. So not only do you donate to the campaign, you help them get reelected. You also ensure that certain people get jobs that may be a part of their family or a distant relative. It may even be some money that's exchanged in cash over here, over there, in order to be able to get a certain city contract. And so a lot of these people have a reason or an incentive to make sure that you get elected, because when you get elected, we get paid. So let's just say, for example, there's a city contract. Shout out to Rod. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Let's say, for example, there's a city contract as far as, or a competing person that is trying to get a city contract for waste removal or recycling, or they're trying to start this new program and they need you to allocate a portion of the budget to make sure that they get this contract or whatever, right? Well, then the idea is that we can do more business over here because we are politically connected and we got a phone call or we got a line directly to the mayor. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I am saying that when it comes to business, that's one of the reasons why they want you to be influenced by whoever it is that is in office. So when you get these politicians in office, you have to make sure that they are truly above board. You got to make sure that they don't have any reason to do anything different except for to serve the people. Because when you then serve your own best interest, that means you can be compromised. And that's why I'm always iffy about who it is that's taking donations from who and what role that they are playing in them getting elected. I'm not giving you money just because I like you. They giving you money and they funding your campaign because they had an interest in you getting elected as far as how it's going to impact their finances and their business. 100%.
That company holds the recycling contract for the city of Oakland.
There you go. That company holds the recycling contract for the city of Oakland. How much the contract is going to be, that can be influenced. Whether it was a no bid process. Whenever you see a human, they can be compromised.
And remember, their offices were also raided on the same day that those agents went to the mayor's home, and investigators are asking for any documents and communications regarding those city contracts. And so, Julia, this subpoena is really broad. The FBI is asking for an absolute mountain of information. It could take the city attorney possibly weeks, even months, to produce all of that, get all of those documents together. But eventually, whatever evidence is gathered could then be presented to a grand jury, and it would be up to those jurors to decide whether there is enough evidence to charge anyone with a crime.
Yeah.
And the one thing we know about the FBI is that their conviction rate is so high because they wait to gather all of the evidence before charging you with a crime. Boy Black is a little bit bothered. So let's address his concern before we go over to the next segment of the show. He's bothered by the fact that Anton continues to highlight the things that's going on in the cities like Oakland and Chicago, just like a lot of the other people that are butthurt about it. They're mad at the fact that we're bringing light to the facts. This is not hyperbole. This is not an assumption. This is stuff that is really happening. So if 100 plus people die in Chicago, do you get mad at the person that basically reports it and tell people that they need to be a little bit more careful of how they move in Chicago? Or do you get mad at the people that's perpetrating all of the crimes inside of the city? Do you get mad at the criminals, or do you get mad at the person? That's like getting mad at the person that laughed at the person that cracked a joke on you. He called you big head, bald head with a big nose, and then everybody else started laughing, and you want to get mad at the people that's laughing. The problem with a lot of what we say and what we do is that we don't hold accountable the people that's actually perpetuating the crimes in our communities. We don't hold our leaders accountable. We don't vote. We don't want to have any kind of participation. We don't even know who our treasurer and our county tax persons are. But then we want to sit here and come up here and say, oh my God, I don't like the fact that you're going to talk about it. I guarantee you Oakland go bankrupt. I guarantee you, if you were familiar with Oakland's numbers and you went over their proposed budget and how much in a deficit they are in, if you looked at how short they were of police officers, if you looked at the potential revenue that's going to come into that city over the next 5 to 10 years, and you're going to sit here and tell me that they're not on the path to bankruptcy, they don't even have the money to fund the next fiscal year. They're in a deficit right now, and they have a homelessness crisis. Businesses are leaving, no sports teams. Everything is plummeting. The people are absolutely falling into disrepair and is being taken over by homelessness. I guarantee you that Oakland is going to file for bankruptcy within the next 5 to 10 years. It probably won't even be the next 2 to 3 years. In a booming economy where housing prices is up and property taxes are supposed to be going up, they're absolutely positively going to file for bankruptcy at some point in the near future. If Vegas had a bet on the timeline and Oakland will file for bankruptcy, I would take it 10 times out of 10. If I can go to Vegas or FanDuel or some online platform and I could bet on the next major city that will file for bankruptcy, I guarantee you I would bet 100% of the time that Oakland is going to file for bankruptcy next. And then he's going to say, let's bet. Man, you ain't even got a profile picture. I don't even know who you are. Get out of here with that. Y'all just be talking. All right, let's bet. Bet what? Bet what? We don't even know you. We ain't never even seen you before. You just butthurt because we bringing you to the front of the congregation. But don't get mad because I bring my own city to the front of the congregation. I just talked about them, yesterday, the day before yesterday, about the 21 people that got shot in Detroit. We don't discriminate. We hold everybody accountable. Now, if they was doing something good, then we would absolutely 100% give them credit. But whenever you're doing bad in a good economy, all we waiting is for something bad to happen and you're going to completely fall off the map. 100%. And then don't worry, I'm going to come in and I'm going to help gentrify it. We got you, big dog. Anyways, let's read a couple of these super chats and then let's continue on with the show. All right. Y'all be hurt. Y'all be hurt. Well-building journey in the building says donation to campaigns are simply an investment. Facts. Remember, when something seems unusual, always follow the money. And that's why we call it the Millionaire Morning Show. Thank you, my friend, for continuing to support the platform. My dog. Why are they doing that? There we go. Shout out to Rod's Quadrant in the building. Thank you for the 50 ball and continuing to support the platform. We appreciate you, big dog. We really, really do appreciate you. Thank you for always holding us down. Thank you, Rod. We wouldn't be here without people like you, my friend, and my girl, sister. Make sure y'all continue to keep sister in your prayers. We appreciate you. All right, let's continue on with the show. Shout out to all of the fans that's butthurt in the chat, like boy, feeling some type of way. We love you too. Anyway, stick around and maybe you'll learn something. Biden recently gave a speech at NATO, and we want to make sure that we review that because Anton is not familiar with what this speech was. I knew that the speech was going to be given, but I didn't want to review it until I actually had an opportunity to review it in real time with you guys. So we're going to go ahead and spend some time to review Biden's recent speech with NATO, and then we're going to break it down and see if it's anything for us to be able to mine out, and if this is going to affect what we're going to vote for in November election. Let's get to it.
President Biden addressing the NATO summit here in Washington, D.C.
Good evening. Welcome. In 1949, the leaders of 12 countries, including President Truman, came together in this very room. History was watching. It had been 4 years since the surrender of the Axis powers and the end of the most devastating war the world had ever known.
I wonder if I can get a, let me see something. Because I feel like that's a little low. Give me a second. I'm going to see if I can get a better one. That's a little louder. So I feel like this one is a little low. So I want to thank you, Kennard. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly.
Good evening. The leaders of 12 countries, including President Truman, came together in this very room. History was watching. It had been 4 years since the surrender of the Axis powers.
You know I'm going to cover the Republican National Convention. Of course we are. We're going to cover the Democratic National Convention and we're going to cover the Republican National Convention, 100%.
The end of the most devastating war the world had ever known. Here, these 12 leaders gathered to make a sacred pledge to defend each other against aggression, provide their collective security, and to answer threats as one, because they knew to prevent future wars, to protect democracies, to lay the groundwork for lasting peace and prosperity, they needed a new approach. They needed to combine their strengths. They needed an alliance. And here they signed the Washington Treaty and created the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the single greatest, most effective defensive alliance in the history of the world. Mr. Secretary General, leaders of NATO countries, foreign and defense ministers, representatives from partner nations and the European Union, and members of Congress, distinguished guests, welcome to the 2024 NATO Summit. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to host you in this milestone year, to look back with pride at all we've achieved and look ahead to our shared future with strength and with resolve.
I see all of the mistakes that he's making. I'm trying to push through because, I think that the easy thing is for me to pick at whether or not he's coherent, how he's tripping up on his words, how stiff his neck is. I see all of y'all already saying that inside of the chat. Mushing his words together like Kyla Avery is saying. I think it's easy to do that. I'm trying to see if it's something that I can get of substance, because the easy thing to do would be pick on whether or not he can actually communicate effectively or how old he is or whether or not he's turning his neck, all of that stuff. But let's see if it's anything worth mining out of this, in addition to the fact that he's old as hell.
Together, we rebuilt Europe from the ruins of war, held high the torch of liberty during long decades of the Cold War. When former adversaries became fellow democracies, we welcomed them into the alliance.
He's stumbling his word. Like, it's bad. It is bad. It's 100% bad. I'm not saying that he's incapable. I'm just saying that it seems like there's early signs here.
Broke out in the Balkans. We intervened to restore peace and stop ethnic cleansing. And when the United States was attacked on September 11th, our NATO allies, all of you, stood with us, invoking Article 5 for the first time in NATO history.
Sounds like he's spit.
Treating an attack on us as an attack on all of us. A breathtaking display of friendship that the American people will never, ever forget. Through all this history, when great changes occurred, people would ask, can NATO adapt? And every time we proved we could adapt, and we did, evolving our strategies to stay ahead of threats, reaching out to new partners to increase our effectiveness. And here with us today are countries from the Indo-Pacific region. They're here because they have a stake in our success, and we have a stake in theirs. Today, NATO is more powerful than ever, 32 nations strong. For years, Finland and Sweden were among our closest partners. Now they have chosen to officially join NATO, and because of the power and meaning of Article 5 guarantee, that's the reason. It was the most important aspect of the alliance in 1949, and it is still the most important aspect. I'd also note, Finland and Sweden joined the alliance not just because their leaders sought it, because their citizens called for it in overwhelming numbers. Remember, NATO's character is fundamentally democratic, always has been and always must continue to be. And today, NATO is better resourced than it ever has been. I want to pause on this because it's significant. In the year 2020, the year I was elected president, only 9 NATO allies were spending 2% of their defense GDP on defense. This year, 23 will spend at least 2%. And some will spend more than that. And the remaining countries that have not yet reached that milestone will get there soon. This remarkable progress, proof that our commitment is broad and deep, that we're ready, that we're willing, we're able to deter aggression and defend every inch of NATO territory across every domain.
What?
And defend every inch of NATO territory across every domain: land, air, sea, cyber, and space. My friends, it's good that we're stronger than ever, because this moment in history calls for our collective strength. Autocrats want to overturn global order, which is...
What?
Autocrats want to overturn global order, which is by and large kept for nearly 80 years and counting. Terrorist groups continue to plot evil schemes to cause mayhem and chaos and suffering. In Europe, Putin's war of aggression against Ukraine continues, and Putin wants nothing less than Ukraine's total subjugation, to end Ukraine's democracy, to destroy Ukraine's culture. Ukraine's democracy, to destroy Ukraine's culture.
You still believe that, Fa Brown? Because you got to remember, Fa Brown, that these speeches are written for him. They got them big old monitors right next to him, and then they tell you see the one that's right there up in the upper left-hand corner? They tell the cameraman to zoom all the way in on Biden so that it doesn't look like he's looking at the speeches. And the only thing he has to do, here, guys, let's remember this, is he has to read and then try to give a little bit of emotion into the speech. That's it. Read and give emotion into the speech. As long as you're a good reader and you know how to communicate effectively, you should be able to get through this. This is not hard. This is not something that you have to speak from the heart or anything like that. And just, be able to say what you mean and mean what you say. That's all you have to do. This is not a difficult thing for the person that's supposed to be a leader of the free world.
Ukraine's democracy, destroy Ukraine's culture.
Oh man, y'all not gonna sit here and try to gaslight me. You're not gonna sit here and try to gaslight me, because you know me, I pay attention to the details.
And to wipe Ukraine off the map. And we know Putin won't stop at Ukraine, but make no mistake, Ukraine can and will stop Putin. Especially with our full collective support. They have our full support. Even before Russian bombs were falling in Ukraine, the alliance acted. I ordered the U.S. reinforcements at NATO's eastern flank. More troops, more aircraft, more capabilities. And now the United States has more than 100,000 troops on the continent of Europe.
I did not know this, and somebody just said this. And according to the NATO homepage, on the topic of NATO funding, and again, somebody just said this inside of the chat. So whenever I see somebody put some information inside of the chat that I'm not aware of, I usually want to go and look it up myself, because we're learning on the fly, and so we better understanding exactly what's happening out here in these streets. And so in order for us to do that, we got to do our own research. Now I'm gonna share with you what I see, and then you guys can give me a little bit of insight of whether or not this is actually accurate. All right. Somebody said in the chat that the U.S. is funding the majority of NATO. And I knew that, but I didn't know to what extent we were funding the majority of NATO. And so I went and pulled it up myself, right? And it says, and I asked, how much of NATO does the U.S. pay for? The volume of U.S. defense expenditure represents approximately 2/3 of the defense spending of the alliance as a whole. So you're telling me that we're at, and it says approximately, so it could be anywhere from 66.7% to 70+%, okay? So if you're telling me that we are putting in 66 to 70% of all of the funding for NATO. Who wouldn't want that deal? Y'all sitting here worried about whether or not these women going to go 50-50 with y'all. Y'all should join NATO. Listen, I want a NATO deal. The next woman that come, the next woman that go up there and ask a simp of what she want, just tell her, I want a NATO deal. Hey, tell him, hey, baby, I want a NATO deal. He going to give it to you. Listen, if the United States of America can do it, you certainly can do it. Fund 70% of her lifestyle, should do anything for you. Fund 70% of the lifestyle, she definitely joining in. Listen, go and get you a chick that's under duress. Go and get you a chick that's under duress and then tell her, hey, listen, I take care of 70% of your expenses. She going. And she going to let you do what you want to do. That's crazy. Let me see something. That's crazy. This is insane. All right, so we learning as we go. We getting more information. This is why we do this show, so that we can learn together. All right, let's continue to hear the speech.
NATO moves swiftly as well, not only reinforcing the 4 existing battle groups in the east, but also adding 4 more in Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, and Slovakia, essentially doubling NATO's strength on the eastern flank. Together, we've built a global coalition to stand with Ukraine. Together, we provided significant economic and humanitarian assistance. And together, we've supplied Ukraine with weapons it needs to defend itself. Tanks, armored fighting vehicles, air defense systems, long-range missiles, and millions of munitions.
And millions of munitions. Okay, all right, we in there.
The United States and nearly 24 allied partners have signed a bilateral security agreements with Ukraine. And more countries will follow. Today, I'm announcing an historic donation of air defense equipment for Ukraine. The United States, Germany, the Netherlands, Romania.
How much is that going to cost us? How much is that going to cost us? How much is that costing taxpayers? Because listen, you guys know. I don't know if you're familiar, but you guys have to know that this is your money. This isn't his money. He not spending his own money. He's getting paid by you guys to speak on your behalf on how much money that we giving over into another country in order to fund this proxy war. So we giving off more weapons, more stuff, more things at inflated prices. Listen, we're not just giving money to other countries. We're spending money on other countries and then giving the money and then giving it to them. The only people that wins here is the defense contractors. That's the only people that wins. They can't wait to get another contract. More money, more money.
And Italy will provide Ukraine.
Then they're going to tell us to tax the rich.
With the equipment for 5 additional strategic air defense systems. And in the coming months, the United States and our partners intend to provide Ukraine with dozens of additional tactical.
We're going to provide Ukraine. Not provide, we're going to provide Ukraine.
The United States and our partners intend to provide Ukraine with dozens of additional.
This is so dumb, man. This is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. I don't know how y'all vote for this. Y'all so dumb. Don't you know that Trump was like, I'm not being a part of this because this doesn't actually serve our best interests? We so dumb, man. I see these stupid boomers and Xers and these overly liberal people that like to dress with rainbows around them, and they continue to vote for this dumb stuff, bro. What do we get out? That's the pitch. In any business proposition, I don't care who it is, what it is. Whenever they ask you for something, or whenever you given an overwhelming majority of it, you have to stop and look. Man, even if you got a sad hole that you funded, bro. the first thing that you got to ask yourself is, what do I get out of this? What am I getting out of this? What is the benefit that comes along with it? If it's something that benefits me on the back end, cool. I don't mind spending money on you, baby, but I got to understand what's the return on my investment. What is the return on my investment? What am I getting out of this? Every single person that is around me in some shape, way, or form is adding value into my life. There's a return on it. Even my mother effing wife, she's out here hustling. She on her computer every single. You think she just be sitting here when she inside of the studio? No, she be having her laptop open. She be working. She be making phone calls, setting stuff up, making sure that she go and visit contractors, delivering checks, looking over the budgets, making sure that the money is right, going over what the accountant told us, scheduling interviews, answering y'all emails. Man, do you know the type of value that she would have to bring to me in every single way? And everything that we do, we got to look at it from a business perspective. How are y'all not paying attention and saying, what the heck do we get out of this? So you just give it, when you look at your paycheck and you see all of that money coming out and you say, okay, well, this percentage is going to go to the military. This percentage is going to go to NATO. This percentage is going to go to Ukraine. Y'all don't break it down like that. Y'all don't look at it like this. Y'all just be like, yeah, we voting for this guy because we don't like the other guy. Sometimes the other guy may not necessarily be the guy that you like emotionally, but he may be. Listen, one of my lawyers is a complete asshole. Don't worry, the kids is out of school. They sleep anyway. One of my lawyers is a complete a-hole, 100%. But let me tell you something. That guy is no joke. He is no joke. He may not necessarily be the best husband, but I'm telling you, when it's time to draw up them contracts, or when it's time to go to the negotiating table, or when we got to deal with a particular issue, or if I need him to get me out of something sticky, better call Saul. Better call Saul. Sometimes you need a monster to get in there and do the dirty work. Okay? So I'm not necessarily looking to be friends with you. I'm looking to hire you for a professional service to ensure that you protect what it is that I got going on over here. I don't give a piss about what you got going on. Now, if we talking about personal business, us partnering in a business, we opening up a restaurant together, or we got to go into content creation together, then that's a completely different conversation. But when I'm hiring you for a professional service, if you are the best contractor, if you're the person that frames things, if you're the excavator, if you're the lawyer, if you're the accountant, I need a person that's on the job. I don't have no time for games. I'm not sitting here evaluating whether or not I like you or not. I'm trying to evaluate whether or not I like the work that you did for me. Because I can like you and you could be a complete trash. It's some people that I like in my life. They are some of the best, nicest people that I've ever seen in my life. But would I hire them to work with me? Absolutely not. That's what we're talking about when it comes to the president of the United States of America, even the mayor in your own city. Come on, man. What we talking about, bro? They don't have no respect for this dude.
Tactical air defense systems. The United States will make sure that when we export critical air defense interceptors, Ukraine goes to the front of the line.
Get this off my screen, man. I ain't got time for this nonsense. I'm not doing this no more. I'm not about to sit here and review a video of a man that can't even say 2 words, bro. He don't have the ability to put 2 sentences together without somebody carrying him up the stairs to be over there delivering them. Get out of here, man. What are we talking about? This ain't even nothing to debate. This ain't even. He had more votes than anybody in history, over 81 million votes last election. Biden, a lifetime politician. Get the hell out of here, bro. Not doing this. I'm about to sit here and finesse me. Kennard says, have you noticed a trend of black female politicians that are accelerating the failure of our cities and towns? I absolutely have. Shout out to Tiffany Henyard and Karen Bass and Shang Tsung. Good God. Dr. Umar is on a Breakfast Club. Of course he's on a Breakfast Club. He's going to go to these white institutions that he advocates against so much because it's the white man's fault. Except I'm going to go on the Breakfast Club and I'm going to make them some more money, and I'm not going to get paid for the interview. Of course he's on a Breakfast Club. Of course he's on iHeartRadio, the very institution that he advocates against, because you want to go and get some more donations at the Cash App. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all got to see the finesse. Ken Art is in the building, says, how much is the draft going to cost everyone? Lil Black Duck 2001 says, wasn't getting countries to pay more a Trump policy? It was. And didn't Zelensky's wife just order a new Bugatti? I don't know nothing about that. To quote Biden, well, anyway, bad, man. Steven Slayer 1 says, spending money on other countries but your own is like spending to impress your friends but ishing on your own family in need. And people do it every single day. Chase Barnes in the building says, Biden provides that Kmart blue light special with government defense spending. Everything is for sale. Shout out to my dog, Chase Barnes. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Jesus Christ. I'm going to read these. I'm going to continue to read Super Chats throughout the show. Let's go overseas, y'all. Let's go overseas. Spend 10 minutes talking about this because this actually hit my algorithm. This hit my Instagram algorithm because I like to go to the different travel pages and stuff like that and see what's happening out in these streets. Bush is still definitely worse. I'm going to say Bush is worse. I know y'all asking me which one is worse. JPZ. I think that Bush was worse. I don't care what nobody say. But I like to go and I like to evaluate. And basically what I like to do in my spare time is we like to sit here and say, well, where is the next place that we're going to go, whether it's in the United States or overseas? And one of the places that was on my list was Barcelona. Barcelona, Spain. Paris was also on my list. I see they basically burning Paris down because they didn't like the election. Barcelona was one of the places that was on my list, absolutely. And so when this hit my algorithm, I was absolutely destroyed. I was distraught. I said, oh, what's happening over in Barcelona? A lot of y'all may not be familiar with what's happening overseas. Check it out.
A water fight on the streets of Barcelona. Some locals spraying tourists with water guns as they ate at popular restaurants, sending visitors fleeing from their tables. Thousands of protesters walking through the city over the weekend, chanting "Tourists go home" and carrying signs with anti-tourist slogans.
Restauration and hotels is the group that makes really big money, but all the people are in a very poor situation and they don't have enough money to live. That's a problem.
Barcelona is one of the top tourist destinations in the world, home to iconic sites like La Sagrada Familia.
I couldn't wait to go to Barcelona and see all of these places. I couldn't wait to go to Barcelona. Don't you know that tourism is a huge part of their economy? And they're mad. They're mad because more people are going to visit these locations and spend money inside of their city. And so the large issue amongst the people, and this is what they're saying, they'll throw their own economy away in order to actually stand on whatever they stand on. And I actually disagree with it, but neither here nor there. They're basically going and they're throwing water on and shooting them with water guns and going over to these places and bothering the tourists. And they telling them to go home. They say, listen, we don't want you here. We don't want your money. We don't want your dollars. We don't want you to come over here and to be messing up what we think makes the most sense for us. Now, at the core of this issue is housing. They're saying that because tourists are there, what's happening is it's reducing the amount of housing because of temporary housing that's allocated for people that then travel to the country. So, for example, if you turn the home that you would then rent or you would usually rent to somebody else, but then it becomes a short-term rental such as an Airbnb, then they're saying the same thing that they're saying over in New York City, because if you remember, New York City actually reduced what was happening or the ability for people to be able to rent out their Airbnbs inside of the city. So they basically killed an economy within the city or the amount of money that people were able to make within the city by saying that, nope, most people can't have Airbnbs in the city largely. And so now you have to allocate that towards long-term housing. You got to rent it out to people that you don't want to rent it out to because you cannot do short-term rentals through Airbnb. If you do, we're going to find you. So it's no longer a capitalistic society. It's no longer ability to be able to do what you want to do with your own property. Now they're putting restrictions and the people are protesting and saying that we don't even want y'all over here because y'all taking up space that we want to use for our own people. Even though our economy is largely dependent on tourism also.
And Park Güell, in addition to beautiful beaches. Officials reporting more than 33 million people from all over the world visited the city in the first 5 months of 2024 alone. Tourism bringing in a whopping 9.6 billion euro in 2023, according to the Tourism Observatory of Barcelona. But some locals say mass tourism is not only overwhelming the city, but also making the cost of living unaffordable to its residents.
I would stress the declining quality of life for local residents, and that would include the increasing cost of housing, the noise, the litter, the displacement of long-term residents, and the relentless construction.
Rent in Barcelona has risen nearly 70% in just the last decade, according to Mayor Jaume Collboni. In June, the mayor announcing a plan to stop renewing permits for rentals used by foreign visitors by 2028 after saying a boom in short-term rentals is to blame. The city assuring the move would make 10,000 units available to locals in 4 years.
The last years, the city has turned completely for tourists, and what we want is a city for citizens and not in service of tourists.
A delay.
And it's so difficult to deal with it because you got a dude that's walking up on you with a water gun. You don't know if he got bleach in there. You don't know if he got water in there. I don't care what's in there. That's an assault. You can't really do anything because you're in a completely different country and you don't even know what the rules are, right? And so now you got people and they sitting at these restaurants and they're dining. They don't know whether or not these people are in hotel rooms. They don't know what's going on. But you sitting there and you with your little girlfriend and you trying to show her a good time so that you can take her back to the room and bust her down. And then you got these people running up on you with water guns and they basically spraying you and they saying, hey, fam, we don't want your dollars. We don't want your money. Go home. You ain't got to tell me twice. You ain't never got to tell me twice. Look, I was looking at, what's his name? iShowSpeed. I've never seen more people on the live stream than that in my life. I've never seen 275,000 people watching on YouTube for one person. That was insane. I said that this person is truly the GOAT of what they do. And one of the clips that I seen was the guy didn't know who he was, and he was asking how much it costs to actually buy a car that the man had for sale. And the man threw some wild number out there or whatever, and he was like, okay. Well, can you tell me more about the vehicle or whatever, so on and so forth? And the man looked him up and down and was basically like, this conversation is over. He had already evaluated whether or not he felt like the guy could afford it by just looking at him. And so the guy was asking him more questions like, listen, is it anything that you could tell me about it? How much did you pay for the car? How long did you own it? Or whatever like that, right? And the guy was basically just pawning him off. He had the car for sale, but he didn't want to talk to him because he didn't think that he could afford it. And so eventually iShowSpeed just walked away, but he was offended. He was bothered by it. He's not as old, and so he don't really understand the game as much as we do as far as being able to maintain your composure and not even have that conversation anymore anyway. But whenever it is that I see somebody don't want my money, I'm not going to beg you to take my money. Oh, I don't think that you can afford this car. And so black people, black culture largely, they'll go in and say, you don't think that I can afford it? I'll buy 10 of them. You ain't got to beg me to not take your money. What do you mean? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'm with it. I'm going to walk away. If you don't want my money, I don't want to give it to you. I'm not going to beg you to take my bread. That sounds stupid.
Dilemma for a welcoming city to shift focus and take care of its own.
Guad Venegas joins us tonight from the Telemundo Center in Miami. So,
Telemundo.
Guad, people visiting Barcelona or planning to visit Barcelona in the months ahead, could they expect to see more of these protests and possibly be hit by these water guns?
I would not be over
Well,
it.
Tom, for the people that were at those establishments,
visit.
it was at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? I mean, there's a lot of visitors in Barcelona. It's just unfortunate that they were right there when the protesters came. But this is a sign of that anti-tourism sentiment in Barcelona, which we expect
happening
to continue.
all over the world.
It's not only the protests. There's also signs around the city that are asking tourists to go home. Now, the city has already approved increasing the tourist tax from from 3.25 euro to 4 euro. That's a small increase, but again, it's another sign that Barcelona wants to limit the people that are coming into the city. And in the future, what we can expect is Barcelona to become a much more expensive destination for the tourists that do decide to go. And things are going to change, Tom.
So if you decide to go over to Barcelona, they just going to take more of your money. They're going to tax you. That's basically what they're saying. It's insane, man.
Let's talk about Spain. The economy has been growing faster than most of its neighbours recently, and that's in great part due to its tourism industry, which contributes around 13% of GDP growth and once again is breaking records. But not everyone is happy about the growth of tourism in Spain, which is now seeing a backlash in many parts of the country. Guy Hedgecoe reports from Malaga.
For more than half a century, a tourism model based on sun and sand has been a driving force for the Spanish economy. And today, it's a main reason why the country's GDP is growing faster than almost all its European neighbours. This year, nearly 100 million foreign visitors are expected, a new record.
We have been responsible in the last years of the most important percentage of growth of our economy. In 2023, we were responsible of 80% of the whole GDP growth of Spain, because other sectors were not growing, neither at the speed nor at the level of the tourism.
I agree with you, Yakar.
Spain's relation.
A lot of times we go over into these countries, and it's so funny because I look at this whole passport movement, and one thing that we don't consider is the fact that the locals ain't really rocking with you. They will take your money. They will, embrace the fact that you're going to go over there and pay for some box or spend some money or whatever like that. But most of the locals, they don't truly rock with you because you're not really trying to embrace the culture in the same way that we don't like the fact that a lot of immigrants come over into your neighborhood and then change the culture of what you got going on, or they bring their own culture with it and they say, oh, no, this ain't a melting pot. This is what we do. And so you're not trying to necessarily move according to our beat. You're just doing what you want to do when you want to do it. They don't rock with y'all like that in a lot of these countries. And so and one of the reasons that they don't rock with y'all is because you go over there and you say, well, it's cheaper and the cost of living is cheaper over here. The same thing that Californians is doing to Texans is the same thing that Americans is doing to Mexico City. The same thing that we're doing to the Dominican Republic. It's the same thing that we're doing over there to Thailand. It's the same thing. And so the tourist is like, we don't really love y'all. We not rocking with y'all. You don't understand the language, so you can't necessarily understand it. But the same thing that's happening in Barcelona is happening all across the world. If their costs go up, but they don't benefit as a result of you being there, they're going to say, get up out of here. We don't rock with you.
Relationship with tourism seems to be at a tipping point. A backlash has started as the country counts the cost of an industry which has been so lucrative. Popular holiday destinations like the Canary Islands and the Balearics have seen protests by local people, upset at the impact tourism is having on their home environment. The southern city of Malaga staged a similar demonstration. Much of the anger is caused by the high number of apartments used as short-term tourist accommodation. In Malaga, nearly a third of all properties are in this category.
The city, it's been developed in a way that the prices are going so high that now people who work and live here cannot really afford an apartment. You feel like you are in a theme park, that everything is not really for living there.
This discontent has triggered discussion of possible ways of controlling arrivals or even rethinking Spain's tourism model.
If we want to really talk about sustainable tourism or a lower number of tourists, we should discuss about limits to the activity and higher restrictions and more regulation of the sector, which until now has been like kind of free to act. But right now we need to start putting some limits.
Malaga is one of several Spanish cities which are planning on introducing restrictions on the granting of licenses for short.
Somebody said, be safe, just go to Hawaii. I think that I'm going to switch that up and go to Hawaii this year too. I'm going to look that up in a minute. Let me see something. Let me make a phone call. I think I'm going to switch it up too. 100% I think I'm going to switch it up. Make a decision right here.
Hello.
What up? You busy? I'm on the live stream.
No, what's up?
Hey, you know how we go to South Florida, Miami, in the wintertime in order to, for the holidays and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Should we go to Hawaii this year?
Yep.
You ain't even think about it. Why you ain't think about it? You love Miami in the wintertime.
I do, but I love Hawaii too.
All right. We'll figure it out. All right, bet.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right. Hawaii actually has better weather than Miami in the wintertime, or, slightly better weather. But I think that we'll do that. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show because we got a couple more things that we want to tackle before we get up out of here today. Tech Coach Ralph in the building says they could at least have used super soakers. Super soak that. Watch me. Shout out to my dog, Tech Coach Ralph. I appreciate you. Also, Spider Clamp in the building says, I have two voices, my boat and my money. That's a fact. I mean, let me give you a round of applause for that one. I especially love when people tell me where not to spend it. You absolutely right. Okay, cool. I like to spend money in my own city anyway. You know, when I go out of town a lot of times, because I like going to the Gucci store, I won't even shop at another Gucci. I won't even shop at the Gucci store in the suburbs. I only shop at the Gucci store downtown. They know me, and I know that it's a major corporation, but at the same time, I like to patronize the businesses that invest in the city that I have a vested interest in. And so I rock with them. So that's just my personal opinion. The name Joe in the building says for the collection plate. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for holding me down. I appreciate you. All right, y'all, let's continue on with the show. Let's spin the block real quick. I'm going to tackle this first before I go into what y'all really should be concerned about, okay? This is not what I think y'all should be mainly concerned about, but I did find this to be interesting because I believe it was CNN that did an investigation on Airbnb's hidden camera problem. Now, I am very, 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 very leery. You know, I usually only get Airbnbs when I'm going into a city and I'm either having an event there, so I want to have some people over, or I need to do an interview, and so I can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Okay, well, I'm going to stay in an Airbnb, or I'm going to get a separate Airbnb, and then I'm going to shoot some content in there, right? Because I like the backdrop. I like what's going on there. And so I usually rent an Airbnb when I'm trying to take care of business and I'm trying to do some stuff in the city. Most of the time, I just stay in a hotel because I've been hearing about this for a long time, and that there's a lot of hidden cameras that's not even being found inside of these Airbnbs. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it.
It was just like, holy crap, this is a camera.
But it didn't look like a camera. It was a phone charger. Chloe Lebermay's fiancé had grabbed it from the bedroom wall of their Airbnb, thinking...
Somebody said Hawaiians don't want us there either. Oh, well, it's the United States of America. I'm coming to Hawaii.
It was hers.
The Airbnb host had called us on the phone and told us that we had taken a charger that did not belong to us and that we needed to return it immediately.
At what point did you think this isn't really a charger?
He became increasingly paranoid. When am I getting this charger back? I think it was like a light bulb moment that we all just went, oh my goodness, is this a hidden camera?
Across North America, police have seized thousands of images from hidden cameras at Airbnb rentals, including people's most intimate moments.
What happened when you realized that there was...
Somebody said Hawaii is a 14-hour flight. I know, that's why you get Delta One, baby.
Camera in that charger.
It's so eerie and so creepy. Then your brain starts thinking, what did they see? What happened while we were in that room?
In a small town in Maine, a couple found a hidden camera at their Airbnb. Listen to what the host told police.
So they had sex?
Yeah.
And you recorded that?
I took some screenshots.
The host admits he set up a camera hidden in this clock next to the bed to record unsuspecting guests.
Heck no.
So there's stuff of a couple of couples playing around or getting changed. So
okay, so there's pictures of people that are in intimate situations.
Yes.
Okay.
It's more than just a few reported cases, and Airbnb knows it's a problem. In this deposition reviewed by CNN, an Airbnb rep said 35,000 customer support tickets about security cameras or recording devices had been documented over a decade.
Nah, that's too many, fam. And I know that this is not the intention, or this is not necessarily Airbnb's fault. This is the fault of the people, but it's just give me pause, man, and make me leery. Because see, now that I know, and now that I'm aware of it, and now it's starting to come to the forefront, it's almost like food, right? It's almost like what you don't know don't hurt you. And so a lot of people refuse to even know what's in their food, or they don't want to do the research, or they don't want to know where their food come from. They just want to eat it blindly. They don't want to know because it's going to then change their perception of what it is, and then they can't unsee what they already done saw. It's the same thing with this. It's like now that we know better, we got to do better, and we can't just look at this and say, oh, man, Airbnbs, I'm just going to keep renting them out. I think about all of the different Airbnbs that I done rented. And I just be thinking to myself like, dang, I wonder if it was a hidden camera in there. I wonder if it was a hidden camera. Or when you go into an Airbnb, right? When you go into an Airbnb, now you're going to be looking and you're going to be searching for it. I don't know how to sweep a room for hidden cameras.
Airbnb told CNN a single complaint can involve multiple tickets. And a CNN investigation found Airbnb not only fails to protect its guests, it works to keep complaints out of the courts and away from the public.
Why don't we know about this? They are trying to keep it secretive. And if everyone knew what was happening, they would not be using their website.
Airbnb wants to wash their hands clean when they have a host who does something illegal or suspicious. They want to say, we are simply a website. We are not responsible for this host. We are not responsible for this property.
They don't want the liability
Florida
to come
attorneys
along with
Belkis
it.
Plata and Shannon Schott say trying to sue Airbnb if something goes wrong is extremely difficult. It begins when you sign up on Airbnb's website and click agree to their its terms of service.
Yep.
You're agreeing to assume all risk.
That's correct.
The person going to rent the property agrees that if something happens while they're staying at this accommodation, they're actually prohibited from suing Airbnb. They must go a different route, which is a binding arbitration. It's a way to strong-arm someone.
Is this about controlling publicity?
100%.
Absolutely.
Once they've settled a claim, Airbnb has required guests to sign confidentiality agreements, which CNN obtained, that keep some details of legal cases private.
For you to get the check, you must sign the piece of paper so that no one will know. This will be swept under the rug.
That's exactly what happened to this
I said
man.
it's hidden cameras in toilets? Is that what y'all saying? It's hidden cameras in toilets? Come on, man. That's wild, bro. That's some insane stuff right there, man.
Still signing that confidentiality agreement.
Dirty.
This man asked us not to show his face, and we've masked his voice. He and his wife were recorded during a romantic getaway.
They had intimate footage of my wife and I. The sexual union between two people is sacred. It felt like an extreme violation of
It is an
marriage.
extreme violation.
It's devastating. It's a travesty.
In this
Y'all said it's a camera finder on Amazon? It's a camera finder on Amazon? All right, let me pull this up. I need to find this. Why I gotta have all of these extra lights on it and stuff like that? How effective is this stuff? Hidden camera detectors, scanners, level 6 sensitivity. Let's go to the ratings. The idea of an 8-year-old boy is mistakenly left home alone has to protect the house. What? All right. Take the time to figure out. You see how it works. This is exactly what detects Wi-Fi, an IR, LED lights, cameras used to get the picture at night, low light condition. Travel a lot for work. I'm concerned with my privacy. Find on the internet some perv website. I feel confident this will help prevent the test at my house and at work. Also, I have a crap ton of Wi-Fi devices, everything from access points to light switches, cell phone, just a ton of stuff. It did detect all of them. I found as long as I don't set it too high or go slow, it will clearly identify the device as using Wi-Fi. Then I can verify if it's a camera. If I think I can push up the red viewfinder and turn the light on and you see the cameras, emitters glowing at you. Okay. About to order one of these. They don't even cost a lot of money. All right. We in there like swimwear. Let's continue.
Case and others, CNN found that Airbnb does not contact law enforcement once hidden cameras are discovered, even if children are involved. Recording someone without their consent is illegal in every state.
If people are out sharing their stories of how they were victimized through the services of Airbnb, nobody's going to want to trust them.
This man only found out he and his wife were recorded because police called him months later after another guest found the camera.
And they explained that every single room in the house had cameras.
That's
every
insane.
room.
The cameras were hidden in smoke detectors.
Somebody just said it. Somebody said it before he even said it. They said boom camera in a smoke detector. Man, that's crazy. Y'all got me looking sideways now, bro. Maybe I should only rock with super hosts. Is it better if y'all go with a super host or somebody that's a little bit more reputable? Does that help? Because, I don't want to not be able to rent an Airbnb when I need to rent an Airbnb. But good God.
The challenge is that the technology has gotten so advanced, these cameras so small that you can't even see them. In this one bedroom, we have put multiple cameras all around, and they're hidden in plain sight. This one is in the smoke alarm, an alarm clock, and even an outlet. And some of them, like this one, I can control remotely on my phone and even live stream. What would you like to tell Airbnb?
By not doing their due diligence, they're harming families. And they're selfishly making a lot of money while doing that.
Airbnb declined an interview for this story, but told CNN incidents of hidden cameras are exceptionally rare. And
what up, Berg? What up, Berg? You said you were a super host and you would never use cameras inside of your home. Y'all said it don't matter if they're a super host. They watch the most. If they're a super host, they watch the most. How do you figure that they watch the most if they're a super host? All right. Well, I guess I'm just going to go with hotels largely, and then I'm not even going to entertain the nonsense because I ain't got time to be getting caught up in no nonsense. Imagine that you're doing everything right and you're taking care of business, and the next thing you know, some dark web got you busting it down for a real one on camera. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. But neither here nor there. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to get over to the last part of the show. I need to dial into a meeting, too, while I'm at it. Lil Black Duck says, go to Maui and visit Halikala. Halikala is awesome. Where do I stay in Hawaii? For the people that's been to Hawaii, where do you stay? I know it's incredibly expensive over the wintertime. Ken Art says, I'll be in Maui in 2 weeks. Is curious how tourism is hurting other countries while illegal immigration is hurting ours. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. My dog, Mr. Lott in the building says, this is becoming more common. There was a story last year of a hidden camera at the hot tub spa Oasis here in Michigan. Really? That's not good. Why would they risk their whole business over a stupid hidden camera? Anyways, should we go with one more story? Somebody giving me the insight of what's happening out here in these streets. So listen. For the people that's not aware, Kamala Harris is at an AKA event. You know, I got my people everywhere in these streets. Kamala Harris is now at an AKA event over in Dallas. Kamala Harris is down in Dallas. So Dallas has this huge thing, I think it's called Boule, right? And every 2 years they have it. And it's this huge convention of AKA members. And they do all of their stuff or whatever. And so a lot of people are not familiar with the fact that Kamala Harris is an AKA. Yep, Kamala Harris is an AKA. And so what they're trying to do is leverage a whole conglomerate of black women, to be down there in Dallas. And they got tens and tens and tens of thousands of these women down there that's at the Boule. And then guess who they decided that they was going to make the keynote speaker at the last minute? You guessed it. Kamala Harris. So now, in an effort to try to make sure that they swing the election back to the Democratic side, even though the polls are showing different, Kamala Harris is the keynote speaker at Boule. Now, what I've also just learned in real time is that multiple different fights are breaking out and security is everywhere, and it's an embarrassing thing. So largely, this whole event is supposedly been going off without a hitch prior to today. Apparently, she's speaking today, and it's saying specifically that she's headlining the AKA convention during a politically important week for Biden's campaign. That's according to CNN Politics. And a bunch of different fights is breaking out amongst a whole lot of black women, AKAs. Fights is breaking out. Security is everywhere. It's embarrassing. Oh, no. Over 3 fights that broke out already, just as it relates to where my multiple different sources can see. So, Anton from AntonDaniels.com is eventually going to be bringing y'all the news sooner rather than later, but that's for another day. So, yeah, she's trying to leverage her AKAs in order to be able to get y'all popping. Should we save this last story for tomorrow? I'm going to save this last story for tomorrow. What is the last story? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to save this last story for tomorrow because we almost at time. So we almost at the 2-hour mark. And we're going to just save this last story for tomorrow. We're going to sideline it in order to, because I got to jump into a meeting because it's 9:34 and I'm already supposed to be there. So anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Let me read one more super chat before we get out of here. Purple Haze in the building says, AD, I know watching the boys hasn't made it much better shining the light on all of the cover-ups. This just adds to the side eye. You know what, Purple Haze? I just started the second season last night. Yep, I just started the second season last night. Phenomenal series so far. Shout out to Homelander and Translucent and Starlight. Starlight needs some better powers than that and all of that. A-Train, baby. Shout out to A-Train and all of that. If y'all have not watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, it is a phenomenal series. We are at time. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this meeting. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all have a phenomenal afternoon. And then also on top of that, look forward to the next video this afternoon on the Anton Daniels channel. Episode 3, Season 1 of the Anton Daniels Show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Make sure y'all pray for sister because she over there with the vid. Pray for sister. Thank y'all to everybody that support the platform. Stan Autry is in the building. Says the bare minimum turn off all the lights and search for Wi-Fi connections. That's rookie level. However, it's a start. Okay. So let me go ahead and order my stuff to make sure I get the room swept before I start staying in Airbnbs. Thank you, Stan. And what else we got going on? Patreon. Drop the information for the meetup in the Patreon. If y'all gonna catch me over in Houston, come link up with me, Q, Mika, 2K, Quentin, me and all of my friends. We're gonna be over in Houston. We're gonna get it in at the end of the month. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Thank y'all. Till tomorrow. Peace.